Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about acid base concept, and then we also solve some MCQs related to this concept. So first of all, what is acid and what is base? So the species which give a proton or hydrogen ion is called acid. The species that give a proton or hydrogen ion or proton is same, that is H positive. Okay, so HCl will give H positive ion, means that a proton, and then Cl negative. ठीक है, so this is acid. अब CH3COOH, so it will give positive ion, H positive ion, that is fulfill the condition, species which give proton or hydrogen ion, so this is also a acid. Okay, then we move on to the next definition, that is base. Base is what? Species which accept proton or hydrogen ion. The species which give proton or hydrogen ion, that is called acid, and species that accept proton ion or hydrogen ion, that is called base. For example, that is SO4 negative 2. It accept one proton, then it becomes HSO4 negative, then it is acting as base, because it is accepting proton or hydrogen ion, H positive ion. Okay, then HSO4 negative ion also accepting proton ion, and it becomes H2SO4, then it is also acting as base. So for example, NH3 accept proton, then it becomes NH4 positive, so it is also acting as base. So the species which gives proton or hydrogen ion, that gives in reaction HCl give H positive ion, yeah, in reaction CH3COOH, that is called acetic acid give proton and convert into acetate ion, so that gives proton, for example H2SO4 give also two proton ions, then it is also known as acid. Base, the species which accept proton or hydrogen ion, that are called bases. For example, this is base because it accept proton ion and it convert into HSO4 negative, and it is also a base because it can also accept a proton and convert into H2SO4. And another example is NH3, because it can also accept a proton and convert into NH4 positive. So this is the concept of acid and base, and we also move on to the conjugate acid, and what are conjugate acid and what are conjugate base concept. So conjugate acid and conjugate base in reaction, if there is one acid and the other is act as base. If this is acid and it will act as base. Why? Acid gives proton, so other species will accept proton, so that species that gives proton, it will act as acid. Okay, and then base will accept proton from acid. Then conjugate, what are conjugate acid and bases? The acid gives proton and it convert into base. Why it convert into base? Why it is called base? Simple. So Cl negative ion is able to accept proton, not give proton, because it doesn't have any proton, so it will accept proton and it will act as a base. As we move into the reactant, it is acting as acid, and in the result of giving a proton, it will convert into base. So this base is also called as conjugate base. Okay, and base, that is in reactant accept proton and it convert into acid, because now H3O positive will give proton and it is also acting as acid. So it is called as conjugate acid. Clear that acid give proton and convert into base, and that is conjugate base, and base accept proton and convert into conjugate acid. So we move on to next example, NH3 plus CH3 COOH. NH3 is called ammonia and CH3 COOH is called acetic acid. So acetic acid will give proton to NH3. It will act as acid, it will give proton to NH3 and it will act as base. So NH3 accept proton and it becomes into NH4 positive, and NH4 positive can now give a proton. So it act as a proton giving property is acid property, so it becomes as acid. And where it becomes acid from, it becomes from base, so it is acid but it is conjugate acid. क्लियर हो जाएगी बात. देन उसके बाद एसिड को एसिड विल donate proton and it becomes into base. Now it can accept proton, so it is base and it is also conjugate base. So we move on to next example, HC2O4 negative. So it is negative species, it can also accept proton. So HNO2 nitrous acid, it will give proton to H2CO4 negative. So H2CO4 बन जाएगा, देन उसके बाद NO2 नेगेटिव बन जाएगा. क्लियर हो जाएगी बात. तो H2CO4 negative, it is accepting proton and it is act as base, and HNO2 is giving proton and it act as acid. From it H2C2O4 becomes, and it is a acid. Where it becomes from HC2O4, that is accepting proton, so it is conjugate acid, and conjugate acid giving proton and it becomes NO2 negative, and this is base because it cannot give another proton because it doesn't have any proton, so it will be accepting proton, so it becomes as base, and where from it becomes it is becoming from acid, and this is known as conjugate base. So next concept is oxidation reduction reaction. The reactions in which the oxidation number of species or any specific species or any species means that atom in going from reactant to product, oxidation number is changing. What is mean that oxidation number that is changes? How it possible that oxidation number is changes? For example, look at this example, Fe plus CuSO4, then it becomes FeSO4 and Cu. Fe is in free state. Every atom or every molecule that is in free state, for example this is in free state, N2 is in free state, O2 is in free state. Similar molecules, similar atoms that have are independent molecule, He, Ar, Fe, Cu, that are independent. They are having zero oxidation state. Okay, so Fe has zero oxidation state. When it convert into Fe into FeSO4, then it becomes negative charge and positive charge. how it converts, because as we know that CuSO4 oxygen has -2 oxidation number. So there are 4 atoms, then -2 plus 4, then oxygen have -8 charge, and sulfur has positive 6 charge, then Cu have positive 2 to negotiate the all charges. Okay, then positive 2 and positive 4 becomes positive 8 and -8, that equals and cancel each other, so molecule have 0 charge. Okay, then FeSO4 have same pattern. FeSO4, so FeSO4 have same pattern. Fe means that ke FeO4 O4 have oxygen have -2 oxidation number, -2 plus 4, then it becomes -8, and sulfur has +6 oxidation number. Then Fe, how it becomes, becomes a +2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 8 and -8, it negotiate or cancel each other, then overall its molecules have 0 oxidation number. So in order to have 0 oxidation number, Fe has -2 plus 2 oxidation number, that is here +2 oxidation number, plus 4 is of sulfur and -8 of oxygen. So Fe is converting into from 0 oxidation number to +2. Okay, clear? And Cu, that is here positive 2, is converting into free state which have 0 oxidation number. So 0 to positive 2 oxidation number is increasing, and positive 2 to 0 oxidation number is decreasing. Oxidation number increasing is called oxidation. Clear? Oxidation number increasing, that is called oxidation, and oxidation number decreasing is called reduction. So Fe is going to oxidation process because its oxidation number is increased from 0 to positive 2, and Cu is going to reduce because its oxidation number is decreased from positive 2 to 0. So there is in the same reaction there are 2 processes occurring. Fe is going to oxidation and Cu undergoing reduction. So oxidation reduction reactions are in the same reaction, so this reaction is also called redox reaction. Redox reaction. So this is the symbol of oxidation reduction reaction or redox reaction, that in which oxidation number is changing of any atom going from reactant to product. Clear that this is the redox reaction. This is the example of oxidation reduction reaction or redox reaction. The reaction in which oxidation number of specific any atom is not changing, oxidation number is not changing, then those reaction will not be oxidation reduction reaction or redox reaction. The reaction only that have any atom going from reactant to product is oxidation number changing, those reaction are called redox reaction or oxidation reduction reaction. Clear that? And oxidizing agent and reducing agent, how can you clarify the concept of oxidizing agent and reducing agent? Oxidizing agent, reducing agent, how can you clarify the concept of oxidizing agent and reducing agent? So the species which is going to reduce first of all we discuss about oxidized. The species which is going to oxidize means that that species having oxidation number greater in product, means that oxidation number is increasing from going to reactant to product. So Fe has zero charge in zero oxidation number in reactant, and in product Fe has positive 2 charge, so it is going to oxidize. So species which is going to oxidize in a reaction is reducing other. Clear that the species which is going to oxidize is reducing other, so it will act as a reducing agent. And species which is going to reduce is oxidizing other species, and it will act as oxidizing agent. The species which is reducing itself, then it is oxidizing other, and it is oxidizing other means that it is called oxidizing agent. So these are the concept of oxidation reduction reaction and oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Clear that? Thank you. Allah Hafiz.